And to talk more about this, we will be joined by Mr. James Dorsey, who is a foreign affairs expert. Mr. Dorsey, thank you very much for your time.
To be with you.
Okay, starting off with the liberation of Mariupol, how big a success do you think this is for Russia?
One, I don't think it's a liberation, it's an occupation of Mariupol. Fact of the matter is, and most military analysts will tell you this, that only if and when they have control of the steel plant, do they actually have full control of the city. I think that what Putin is telling us is that he has a dilemma. He does not want to increase Russian casualties. He does not want a takeover of the steel plant. That would look very bad if it were stormed, and therefore you would have a lot of casualties, particularly among the reportedly 1,000 civilians that are also in the steel plant. And what his hope is basically that he can starve them into surrender, and that we will see whether that works or not.
Okay, Mr. Dorsey, Russia has tested intercontinental ballistic missile. So what sort of an impetus do you think it's going to give to its military prowess amid the volatile situation over there? And to what scale it is going to be concerning for the West?
Well, I don't think that intercontinental ballistic missiles matter in a war between two countries who neighbor each other. It's called intercontinental by definition. I think what you do have is it's part of what Russia has been doing from the outset, which is nuclear blackmail. It is threatening to escalate the war, with potentially tactical nuclear weapons in Ukraine, or a nuclear war with NATO if NATO were to intervene. And that's one of the major reasons, in my mind, why NATO has not actively intervened with boots on the ground, but has been providing very hard.
Right, Mr. James Dorsey, UN Chief Mr. Antonio Guterres has offered for talks between Ukrainian authorities and the Russians. Do you think this call would be taken seriously on both the sides?
First of all, Guterres is doing this because he's under pressure himself to be seen to be doing more to try and end the conflict. I think what is evident, Russians and Ukrainians are talking every day. There is some form of negotiations going on, primarily via video conferencing, and those talks are going nowhere. It's hard to see that Guterres would succeed unless both parties looking for a way out. There's no evidence that either or are looking for a way out.
So, Mr. Dorsey, since the UN has offered its role, so what role do you think it can play to make the negotiations successful?
Well, as I said, I think that they'll mediate, but you need two to tango. With other words, the Russians and the Ukrainians need to want a mediation to succeed. I don't think that either believes that a mediation will succeed on terms that is acceptable to both parties. And so therefore, Guterres has to go through the motions. But as a matter of principle, at this point, I would say it's an exercise in futility.
Right, Mr. James Dorsey, foreign affairs expert, thank you very much for your time at PTV World. We really appreciate that.